Namaste everyone. Welcome to my channel. I am Abhinaya, and in this channel I intend to talk about mental health and spirituality. This video is going to be about why some people find meditation difficult. Why meditation can help us. How can it help us? Now, before I get into this video, I would like to give a little disclaimer saying that I am not a licensed therapist or a doctor. I am a certified meditation teacher, and everything I intend to share in my channel is going to come from my own experience of trying to help myself through my own struggles in my life. So, let us begin to understand what is meditation first. Meditation is just a way to rest. It's just a way to rest. And now, why is it important? Why is this form of rest important? Now, before I explain that, I would like to talk about three things. Number one, stress. Number two, feelings. And number three, thoughts. Now, all of this, all the three things I mentioned, stress, feelings, thoughts, they're all normal. They're a normal part of human existence. Okay, I want you to really understand this, because one of the major reasons why people find it difficult to meditate is that they have this imaginary idea that they're somehow going to rid themselves of stress, feelings, or thoughts. There is nothing like that, okay? As long as you're alive, as long as you are conscious, you have thoughts. As long as you are a human with the five elements in your body, the natural elements in your body, as long as you have life thriving inside of you, you have feelings. Okay, and as long as you are in communication with the external world, be it other people, other situations, systems, societies, you are going to have stress. Okay, so these three things cannot be avoided. That is the first thing that you have to understand. Okay, it doesn't exist. There doesn't exist a place where you can't stop these things. Okay, they're a natural part of life, and why wouldn't they be? Because they are beautiful. They're a beautiful part of your life. That's what teaches you things. That's what helps you feel good and bad, and you laugh and you cry. You come up with creative ideas, innovative solutions towards problems. Why wouldn't you want any of these things? And stress is a healthy form of challenge that all of us need. Okay, we need it. If there is going to be no stress, you're going to be like a sack of potatoes sitting on the side of a window. You know, it's not helpful. Challenge is what drives us. Challenge is necessary, and challenge is unavoidable. Okay. Now, coming to stress. What is stress? Stress is just when a situation where you have a demand and you're not able to meet that demand. You feel a sense of overwhelm. That is stress. Stress is inability to cope with a change. Any change, and change is like the most prominent theme in life. There is no way to avoid change. Change is life. Life keeps changing. When stress becomes overwhelming, when does it become overwhelming? It becomes overwhelming when you have a demand that is so huge that you're not able to meet in a certain amount of time, and you feel that you have nothing to give. You cannot meet that demand. You feel that pressure. That is when stress becomes overwhelming. Okay? Now, feelings are independent of thoughts. You feel first and then you think about it. Okay, feelings are just a natural, healthy form of expression of the energy in your body and your mind. Okay, for example, when you get angry, it is the same energy that is used to get angry that is used when you exercise. Okay, so it is essentially the same energy, same form of energy that is expressed in different contexts. Similarly, if you are sad or depressed and you are feeling blue and you just want to lie in bed or feel hopeless, that is the same energy as that would be expressed when you feel humble, calm, and collected. This is just a natural, beautiful part of being a human being. Feelings are not to be avoided. You're not training yourself to reach a goal where you are immune to any kind of feelings, because that is just impossible. You have energy within you, you are going to feel. Okay, so now that is out of the way. Feelings are not to be feared, feelings are to be embraced, feelings are to be felt, feelings are to be experienced and released. Okay, now thoughts are nothing to be feared of. Again, if you are alive, you're going to have thoughts. Now, how are thoughts created? They are created from the inputs from your senses, and you use your thoughts, you interpret your thoughts, you problem solve thoughts. Mind is a very intelligent problem solving tool, and problem solving is so important to the mind that it doesn't stop even if there is no solution, or even if the solution is not easy or straightforward. It just gets obsessed with problem solving sometimes because that is what it does. That is the nature of the mind. Okay? And thoughts are what it comes up with. It comes up with thoughts to understand something, to interpret something, to worry about something based on a pattern from the past, or it keeps trying to churn up your ideas, like everything you know about something is being used to generate thoughts. Okay, so thoughts don't have to make sense, and you don't really have to worry about thoughts. They're just like a random um, field of possibilities that you are in touch with. Okay, so don't fear the thoughts. Thoughts don't define you. So now that we have learned about stress, feelings, and thoughts as normal parts of our existence, let's get into why meditation as a form of rest is even necessary. Now, meditation is not just any type of rest, it is a restful awareness. Okay, sleep is restful dullness. You're resting, but you're in a dull state. In meditation, you're aware. You're consciously looking at things. You're looking at your own mental chatter. And while you do that, you're technically resting. Your mind perceives it as rest. Your body perceives it as rest. And what happens exactly during this restful awareness? Well, when you have the mental chatter going on, you have some noise, you have a lot of random thoughts about something, from something from your past, something from about your future, worry about your future, or you're judging something, you're evaluating something, you're debating something. So many ways your mind is occupied. While all of this mental dialogue is going on, you are creating a distance from this mental dialogue by the technique of meditation. By just witnessing that, by just knowing that you are separate from your mental dialogue, you create a very subtle distance. When you watch something, you are not that which you watch, right? So you are able to watch the movie that is played in your mind as your mental chatter. You know that you are not identified by that. And even though it may be difficult to be convinced by this statement at first, you kind of naturally develop a very subtle distance with this mental chatter. You have a little sense of detachment from it. So now, why is this important? Why do we have to create this distance? This distance, when practiced habitually, when practiced regularly, trains our mind to cooperate with you. In that sense, that the mind doesn't shut up, you tune out of the mind. Let the mind be the background, and your with practice you'll be able to do it more easily, and it just becomes easier because the mental chatter becomes less important because you're paying less attention to it. What you pay attention to is focused upon by your mind for the task of problem solving. Okay, at one point, even your mental chatter becomes a problem to solve. And mind you, this is not a numbing technique, and that it is something that you do when you want to run away from feeling anything or from facing your own thoughts, which pretty much explains why it is so difficult. Okay, it is not about numbing yourself. That is number one myth that needs to be burst. If anything, meditation makes you more aware of your thoughts. Meditation makes you more aware of your feelings, of your fears, of your worries. So it makes the feelings more intense temporarily. This is the reality. You can't stop yourself from feeling anything. What you can do is create a distance first. That is the first step. Create the distance from your mental dialogue. Okay? You create that distance from your mental dialogue by starting to observe it. Observe it. Get curious. First, you become curious, and that helps you observe it. What are the thoughts? What are the thought patterns that keep popping up in my head, that keeps repeating itself? What are the limiting beliefs, false beliefs, and uh, destructive thoughts, whatever it may be? First step is to observe it. Find out what it is. And if you're observing it clearly, it is not you. It doesn't define you. It is just something you're going through, rightfully, but it doesn't define you. You can create that subtle distance from it that gives you certain kind of power, that empowers you actually when you have that distance. Even though it is a very subtle distance, even though it is very momentary, it builds up with practice. And at one point you feel that the whole thing is just noise. That is the first realization that you feel, that the whole thing is just noise. But that doesn't mean that your feelings are not valid. Feelings are very important. They can be a great indicators of what is going on underneath you, underneath your own psyche, underneath your own mind, heart, what is bothering you. If there are some deeper issues, all of these are indicators to help us understand ourselves better and our mind better and our experience as a human being in this world better. So, feelings need to be validated. How do you validate feelings? First, you feel them. If you feel angry, if you have angry thoughts, just let them come up. Let them be heard. When you're trying to create the distance through your meditation and these thoughts and feelings don't feel heard, they keep coming up because they don't feel heard yet. They don't feel understood, they don't feel processed. And you keep wondering, why is this distance not sustainable? Because I'm constantly disturbed by these thoughts and feelings. Now there you go, you have the answer. You haven't heard them properly, you haven't understood them properly, you haven't given them space to be. Let them be. It is a very uncomfortable process to allow your feelings and thoughts to be. If we keep getting angry and we stew in that anger and that energy, you feel that energy, that energy goes nowhere else. It keeps circling around. So how do you dissipate that energy? How do you reduce this part of the mental chatter? You first dissipate that energy. You let that energy come through. You channel that energy in a healthy way. Okay, either going for exercise, for example. I'm considering anger as an example. You go for cycling, you go for running, you do an intense workout, you run up and down the stairs, you do a dance workout, whatever. You dissipate that energy because feelings are energy. And your mind and your brain understands that you have dissipated that energy, and so you no longer have to hold on to it. If it comes up again, that means it has stayed there for quite some time. So you have to also practice letting them go a few times, consistently for a period of time, which is when it will slowly feel validated and it will reduce in its intensity. And now let's take the example of depression, sadness. Okay, now I'm not talking about chemical imbalances here. Okay, of course, chemical imbalances need to be dealt with appropriate medical treatment. But when you feel hopeless, when you feel sad, when you feel low, you honor that feeling. most of the times we just want to run away from it because it feels so bad. You start crying, and the society has put this idea into our heads that we have to not cry, we have to not feel sad. That is not true. Okay, it has been said that way because it just makes it pleasant for people to be around us. Okay, it just feels, yeah, it just feels convenient for some people. So there is a lot of shame associated with feeling our feelings, and that needs to be really addressed. Okay, feeling our feelings is the only way we can get past our suffering. Okay, there's no way around it. So you can't try to create a distance from your mental chatter without feeling your feelings. And when you feel your feelings, when you give that spotlight with a safe supervisor, that is you being the observer of the whole thing, you are removing the shame that is associated with feeling it. So the feelings feel heard. And you may have to repeat it a couple of times. You may have to repeat it a few weeks, months, or it may even be a matter of days. But when you feel it, it feels, yeah, okay, I have felt this. I feel it. I'm human. This is why I felt this. And now I'm okay. It's okay. Now, at this point, once you've felt the feelings, what do you feel? What do you do? You focus on moving on. And now, moving on feels impossible to many of us out there. Okay? And this is okay because moving on from a certain worry gets easier with practice of creating the distance from that worry. And now, why is this distance really important? When you're not meditating, when you're out there living your life, you also have noise, right? You have internal noise, you have external noise, you have a lot of thoughts that come up. You have to deal with 100 things at once. You have to answer to 100 people at once. And when you sit to meditate, you have practiced creating that distance from it, from that noise. And when you're not meditating, it becomes such a second nature to you that you begin to have that distance when you're not meditating as well. And it gives you a clarity. It gives you clarity to view things as they are instead of through your lens of perception. Now, how is perception even formed? Like it's coming from your past experience, right? We are learning from our past on how to be safe, on how to take care of ourselves, and how to behave in different scenarios, and how to deal with certain people. And that is what is encoded in our minds as the protocol to behave or to think, right? So we're always looking at things from our perception. So when we have this distance that is habitually practiced, it comes through even when you're not meditating. So you're able to feel a little bit of distance from your perception as well, from your ability to interpret things. So say for example, someone said something, and normally you would be very offended because someone in your past really hurt you by saying something similar to what this person just said. And now you carry that wound. You know that when someone says something like that, you have to defend yourself a certain way, or you have to feel bad a certain way because that person in the past made you feel bad the similar way. And now that kicks in, and when this person says that to you, says whatever they said in the present moment, you are you're thinking in a certain way that was similar to that pattern that was encoded. And that is going to keep you safe. You're convinced of the fact that it's going to keep you safe. So you do that. But now, if you are habitually been meditating and creating a distance from your mental chatter, you are able to see that that is a pattern. That's a great realization, isn't it? Knowing that it is a pattern. It is something that just because something happened in the past doesn't mean what is happening in the present has to be the same way. Because the truth is, every moment is unique, right? There's no two moments that are the same. Time moves forward. So situations don't have to be exactly the same as what happened in the past. Or situations in future may not happen the same way it happens in the present moment right now. So even knowing that it is a pattern, and if we are seeing through the lens of that pattern, and we're interpreting people and situations and challenges and how we respond to challenges as patterns, helps us immensely. It helps us evaluate. It helps us evaluate whether something is true or not, whether something is based on facts, right? So, if that person is indeed trying to offend you, and all the facts, everything they have said in the present moment reflect their intention to offend you, then you conclude, yeah, okay, this person really wants to offend me. Okay, fine. Now, what do you do about it? Now, even what you do about such a scenario comes from patterns. In the past, you may have acted rashly. In the past, you may have acted passively. But now, none of that past patterns determine your present um, way to react to the situation, to respond to the situation, right? You can definitely respond differently this time, uninfluenced by your past patterns. Now, this happens with practice. Now, this gives clarity, this gives you an ability to make better decisions, sound decisions that is not tainted by your past experiences or your assumptions, your ideas of how things are, your assumptions, even if you've not experienced. Maybe perhaps you learned it from your environment in some way. Somebody told you something, or it's happened to someone you know and how they reacted. So these are ideas. So without influence of these things, your past or your ideas, or how you want to interpret them, you can operate in the present moment to that challenge in a productive, constructive way, okay, in a healthy way. And sure, you are going to be sad or angry or upset, but you honor that feeling in that moment. You honor that feeling, as long as you are doing it in a healthy way. You're doing it not by not harming anyone, by setting your boundaries, by telling people, by explaining to people if you're not okay with something, by choosing, make better choices of your everyday life and big decisions. by choosing what is necessary for your well-being. Now, how do you start practicing meditation? Well, to begin with, you need to develop this habit of creating that distance I told you about, the distance from your mental chatter. Most people, what they do is they focus on things, they concentrate, they do concentration exercises, like they focus on their breath, they focus on sounds, on objects, on color, anything. You focus on any number of things, on movement, walking meditation, you may have heard, so many things. Yoga, asana is also a form of meditation. It's a mindful movement that you do. So concentration on that, on being that witness, or that which observes the mental chatter, that which has the distance from the mental chatter, is what is mindfulness that people talk about. Okay, being mindful, so doing things mindfully means being in the present moment. So being in the present moment while also receiving inputs through your senses, of all your five senses, and being fully engaged in that activity means being focused or concentrating on that activity fully. And when you get used to it, when it becomes easier for you to be in the present moment, and signaling to your mind that it is your priority to focus, it is your priority to have the distance from that mental chatter in the background, and having that as a background and not the main movie. Having that is going to eventually let your mind come on board with you, to cooperate with you, to be a little more relaxed, to be a little easygoing, to flow with the wind, to flow with the events of life. So joy, sorrow, all these emotions will no longer feel like it's something you want to avoid. It would feel like it is a normal part of life, and it wouldn't be so painful. And that is accomplished upon this technique of meditation. Okay, you can attempt to do silent meditation. Now, silent meditation is the real deal. Okay, because it is when you're completely focused in the silence. So previously you were completely focused in whatever that you were doing, when you were being mindful, when you were focusing on your breath, or or the color, or the music, or the sound, whatever. You were training your mind to concentrate. And now, in silent meditations, you will train your mind to concentrate on that emptiness, on that silence within you. And now this silence, or that emptiness, focusing on that emptiness, is going to be a great sensory break for you. It's going to give you a real feeling of rejuvenation. And that is what is meditation. Silent meditation is the real deal, where you are able to fully relax, fully tune out and go into silence. And that has a very profound effect on your body and mind. And many scientific work support the technique of meditation. Okay, a lot of studies keep getting done, and it is really worthwhile pursuit to try meditation to help us um, be benefited from a little break, a little a rest that is with awareness. Okay? Here are some examples on how you can do these concentration exercises or mindfulness exercises. You can focus on your breath. That is the most easiest thing you can practice focusing on. Now I'm going to give you 3 different techniques that you can use. Very simple concentration techniques that is going to kickstart your meditation journey. Okay? Number 1 is deep belly breathing. So as you breathe in and breathe out, you're going to visualize your belly filling with air. And as you exhale slowly. And you exhale longer. Okay? So deep belly breathing, number 1. So number 2 is going to be longer exhalation. So let's say you inhale for 4 counts and you exhale for 8 counts. Exhale a little longer than the amount of time you inhale. Okay? It's called box breathing. Now, you inhale for 4 counts, you hold your breath for 4 counts, you exhale for 4 counts, and you hold for 4 counts. So, when you inhale 4 counts and you hold for 4 counts, you exhale 4 counts, and you hold it. You don't inhale, and you stay there for 4 counts. So, this is called box breathing. It's very common, it's very famous. In case you have a history of anxiety or anxiety attacks, panic attacks, I would recommend you avoid the retention of breath or the not breathing in. So you will only do inhaling for 4 counts and exhaling for 4 counts. Now you can also use sound to help you practice concentration. You can listen to nature sounds and be completely immersed in that. Or you can hum. You can hum sounds. Or if you don't want, you can do. Both of them is excellent in calming you down as a beginner meditation, mindfulness meditation practice. Okay, you can also do art, you can do anything mindfully. You can take mindful walks in the park. If you like cleaning, you can do that. Anything that makes you completely relaxed and focused on that. If you are someone who would like to start silent meditation, then I would suggest you start with 5 minutes a day of being that witness to your mental chatter. Okay, just settle down your breath and go into that space where you're just witnessing that mental chatter as if you're listening to a radio or like a background music. That is your mental chatter. Okay, the background music becomes the mental chatter. The mental chatter becomes a background and you're just there witnessing it. You can practice this for 5 minutes and you can extend it up to 10 or 15 minutes. And if you want to go longer, then it would be a bit of an advanced practice, but you could, if you are already used to mindfulness or you're already there, you feel ready, if you feel comfortable being the witness of your mental chatter, then you can extend it up to even 30 minutes. Okay, you could use a sound, a mantra, or any word that makes no sense, that has no real meaning. You can use it. You can use that and um, use that to be tuned along with your mental chatter. Okay, now this particular technique I can talk about more in my later videos because this is an advanced practice. But I would suggest for beginners, you start with the 5 to 10 minutes or up to 15 minutes of just being the witness to that radio that is playing, that is your mental chatter. Okay? I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. Namaste.